This is the official start of my press conference reaction. I talked about this at the top of the show. Matt Rhule said, and I quote, "I thought we'd play better on offense than we are," end quote. I'm tired of hearing, "I thought we'd come out ready to play better. I thought we'd play better on offense. I thought we'd play better as a whole. I thought this. I thought that." Be more prepared, be more educated, and 2 + 2 = 4. Because apparently we don't know what needs to be expected right now because of what's being said and what's happening on the field. And I say that with all due respect, all right? But again, 2 + 2 = 4, no matter how badly somebody might want it to equal 5. Let's light into some of these press conference highlights. Ramir Johnson suffered an ankle injury. His status is unknown. All right, speedy recovery to Ramir. This week will be a week of introspection. Sounds like a good plan to me. Said it was a disappointing Saturday, Rhule did, but recruits came in the next day. Who saw a great game day atmosphere. I'm not going to lie, when I read that during the break, I had to pause at that one just because there's been conflicting reports on that. So, okay. Need to get ready for USC. We'll stay late tonight to prepare. Sounds good to me. Coach Rhule's job is to always consider everything. I agree. He will have outside parties come in and give a fresh set of eyes on both offense and defense. I love that idea. And the word that we're getting is that it's Dana Holgorsen for the offense. Okay, if that is true, it would be freaking phenomenal, I think. Okay, but a fresh set of eyes, yeah, that sounds like a good idea as well. Offensively, we're not able to run the ball to control the game. I mean, basically, I'm agreeing or I'm just directly disagreeing with a lot of this. Third downs, I agree with that. Third downs and not being able to run consistently doesn't give us a chance to win. Yeah, I've been talking about the run game all year. And last spring, when Matt Rhule said going into the spring game, they wanted to focus on airing it out and throwing the ball because they knew they could run the ball, doesn't age well now. And it shows, again, maybe wasn't entirely prepared for what they were going to face and didn't know what truly was needed on our end, so to speak. Just my humble thoughts. Sha'Carri Barney is out there consistently making plays, and I quote, "He's a lightning rod out there," end quote. All right. Again, this is on here again, so I'll read it again, and I quote, "I thought we'd be playing better on offense than we are." Okay. "This is unbelievable, invaluable experience for Dylan Raiola." I got to pause there. Is it? When you're getting pummeled by Indiana, maybe bring in Harburg. Maybe the first game of the year, halfway through the third quarter, leave Dylan in. Remember the UTEP game? Dylan was out halfway through the third quarter. You know the game when he needed the most experience? That's when Harburg came in. Every game since, when the score isn't going great or Dylan looks a little lost or maybe he could take a breather or maybe, maybe put Harburg in. Maybe save some confidence. Maybe let him take a breather. Maybe remember he's a true freshman. Or maybe when the game's on the line on Saturday, maybe Harburg's actually taken a few reps throughout the season when he has to go in and make the plays instead of being thrust in for the first time in 2 months. There's another thought. All right, we haven't been consistent enough, but for a young freshman quarterback, this is on-the-job training. It is on-the-job training. I can't disagree with that. Maybe certain aspects could be handled differently, but as a general whole, can't disagree with that statement. Not an excuse, but we've had 3 straight teams coming off a bye, throwing different packages at us. When I talk about other college teams on this show, I talked about LSU playing Ole Miss a couple of weeks ago. I said Ole Miss is the better team, but LSU is going to win. Why? Because Ole Miss had just played 7 straight weeks. They just had 3 straight road games. It was at home, at night, on LSU's field, and they were coming off a bye. It's part of college football. All right, you've got A&M. Goes to South Carolina, who, by the way, should have beaten LSU, should have beaten Alabama, but they didn't. They're an under 500 team. A&M's a top 10 team. And I picked South Carolina to win. You want to know why? Because they were at home, off a bye, and A&M had just played like 7 straight games as well. And they'd had a big-time game the week before versus LSU. It's just part of college football. All right. Part of Coach Rhule's job this week is to look at Marcus Satterfield's play calling and game planning. Just now. I'm sure he's done it before, but no. The time is to make a change now. This is the time to make a change, not to continue what should have already been done. Am I wrong on any of this? Am I just completely out there? Am I being unfair? Am I just being a jerk on this Monday meltdown edition of the Adam Carriker show? Help me out, Jake.
I don't think so. I think this is pretty much the feelings of Husker Nation. They're all upset too.
Defensively, we didn't play as well as we have been. No crap. We knew that we'd have more opportunities to run the ball in the second half versus UCLA. Coach Rhule needs to look at his own approach to addressing the inconsistency. I appreciate that. Hey, he never deflects responsibility. He never blames anyone else. Like, I appreciate that about him. I do. I 100% appreciate that about Matt Rhule. Coach Rhule needs to look at his own approach to address the inconsistency. Just read that. I didn't like the way we played Saturday. Well, not like stating the obvious. We'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Coach Rhule will leave to go recruit Wednesday night. You know, they went Monday through Thursday last bye week. They're going Tuesday through Thursday this bye week. Very typical bye week schedules. Nothing too crazy about that. And Tommy Hill will be even better in another week. Malcolm Hartzog will be available versus USC. All right, UCLA is a really talented team. They are talented, but they weren't good. Not until they played us. I've coached at UCLA. They've never had a shortage of talent. Did you know Matt Rhule is actually the coach at UCLA when Deshaun Foster was there in 2001 as the running back? Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yep. All right, Coach Rhule, how much time we got here, Jake?
Just a few minutes here.
Coach Rhule is trying to find a way to get the players to be more consistent. That has to be the most maddening thing. I had people before the game on Saturday, Adam, what's going to happen Saturday? My response, I have no freaking clue. My exact response. And they kind of got annoyed with me. And I'm just like, do you want me to make up some BS and pull it out my keister and hand it to you on a silver platter? Because that's what it would be. I don't know what Nebraska is going to do. I've watched Ohio State. I've watched Indiana. I watched the first half of Colorado. I watched the second half of Colorado. I've watched all these games. I watched the first half of Illinois, then the second half of Illinois. The first half of Purdue, then the second half of Purdue. Do you know what's going to happen? I am not psychic. I don't have a crystal ball. And that's one of the most maddening things because it is there. It is there. We have size up front. We have talent. Are there teams more talented? Sure, but not many in the Big Ten. Ohio State, Penn State, USC, maybe. They're incredibly light in the britches and the trenches. I'd have to dive into them more. Probably Michigan, although they just had a mass exodus to the NFL. Their top 6, not even top 5, top 6 linemen, their quarterback, their running back. Like, we are absolutely one of the top 5 to 6 most talented teams in the Big Ten. There's 18. That puts us in the top third, if not higher. It's there. The most maddening thing is the inconsistency. Jake, if you've got talent, if somebody has talent, but they're inconsistent, without knowing anything else, where do you think the blame lies for that inconsistency? There's two possible answers in my mind.
I would think coaching. Then.
Coaching and effort. Those are the two variables, in my opinion. All right. This program needs to go to a bowl game. Yeah, so I've shared this before, and I'll share it again. At Big Ten Media Days, we interviewed Matt Rhule here on the ticket. He looked me right in the eye, and he said, if we don't go to a bowl game this year, we got serious problems. And he almost laughed, and I did too. The concept of not going to a bowl game was laughable all the way back in July. My pool was open, and I was swimming. Times have changed a lot. All right. He said, and I quote, "You're frustrated, and I'm frustrated," end quote. "Always going to ask for outside help when necessary." Wow, that's not something a lot of people would do. I don't hate that. Players that come to play for Nebraska get treated so well. That's true. That's true. And I quote, "We see what we could be. It's just not consistent yet," end quote. My final thoughts on Matt Rhule's press conference. Some of the things make a lot of sense. Some of them seem obvious. I appreciate him taking responsibility, as he always does. Some of the things I don't really agree with, but that's okay. We're all entitled to our own opinion.